Congratulations. What does it feel like to have won this award?
Well, I'm delighted. It's fantastic because I spent a long time writing the book, about 4 years all told, and I wasn't sure about the reaction. It's just absolutely delightful to have so many people who seem to think it's an accurate portrayal of life at sea, which is all that I tried to do.
One of the things that's striking about it is the way in which you actually engage with the lives of these sailors, and how in a way, though they're at sea with other sailors, it's quite a lonely job. Did that strike you a lot?
Yes, that was very shocking for me. I mean, I had been to sea before on a container ship in 1999, but only for 10 days. So this time it was for 5 weeks. So it was a longer time at sea, and I think the first thing that shocked me was that they didn't have internet access. They couldn't Skype, they couldn't call home. And this was on a really good ship. I mean, it was a Maersk ship, it was a gold standard ship. And yet once they were sort of 12 miles out, no cell phone, no internet. And so it's isolating in itself as a job. And then on board, people would just go back to their cabins, watch DVDs. There was no socializing. It was a dry ship, couldn't relax with a sundowner at the end of the day. So yeah, it was pretty lonely. I mean, there was some socialising done ashore. We would, if we had time to go to port, but it was never more than a few hours because of the pace of containerisation.
Did you feel that there was a need to actually do something about this? I mean, the picture you paint is fascinating, but kind of depressing, really. You would be hard put to recommend to somebody to go to sea on the basis of what you reveal, which is, of course, the truth.
Yeah.
So do you think action needs to be taken, and if so, what kind of things might help?
Well, I think just making life at sea a lot easier for a young person. If we want to encourage young people from, say, the UK or Europe, Western Europe, to go to sea and to want to go to sea rather than to go to sea and see it as a calculated money-earning exercise for 5-10 years, then life at sea has to be more palatable. There has to be communication with home. It has to be made easier. It has to be freely available. We can't expect our young people to go to sea and be deprived of everything that their mates at home have got. It's that simple. Even and because of the pace of containerisation, because they don't have much time in port anymore, it's not that romantic old times of having weeks in port and seeing the world. I mean, if you talk to a seafarer and you say, oh, it's fantastic, you go to sea and you get to see the world, and they'll say, well, I've been to 15 countries and they all look like my engine room, because they don't have time to go ashore. So that has to change. I don't know how it can change. There are things that can be done to make life at sea easier, to provide the internet, to make it easier for seafarers to be in contact with home, perhaps, to maybe give higher welfare budgets on board, but that there is an essential isolation of being at sea. I'm not sure what we can do about that.
Finally, what were your feelings as you came ashore for the last time? What were your feelings? And you reveal some of them in the book. What were your feelings about the seafarers you've been working with, living with, and that you were going to write about? What were you left with as a sense of their lives and of them as people?
I felt a deep sense of affection for them. I was grateful to them because they had welcomed me for 5 weeks, a stranger on board their ship, quite an intimate environment. The accommodation house is not that big. You're in the middle of the ocean. You're living together at very close quarters. So they welcomed me, and I was very grateful for that. I got quite fond of them. They were pretty funny, some of them, and I didn't want to get off the ship. When we got to Singapore, I was very grumpy and did not want to disembark. But when I got off the ship, the cadets said to me, "Take me with you," and they were only half joking. They weren't happy to be on that ship. And so I felt sad as well, and I felt sad for them because some of them saw it as a sentence rather than a career, rather than something that they were passionate about. And I wish that they could be passionate about what they do because they spend so much of their lives at sea. I wish that they could love it rather than just see it as something that they have to endure.
And yet we are more and more dependent upon them to deliver what we need, as you say, even in the title of your book.
Well, we're more dependent on the sea for bringing us 90% of everything than at any time in history. We think of, the general public maybe thinks of shipping as an ancient, old-fashioned kind of industry. It's not. It's cutting edge, it's modern, it's vital, it's fundamental. It earns, $8 billion in taxes to the UK economy alone. It's enormous, and it's growing. So it's not going to go away anytime soon. So either, if we want young people to keep going to sea, then we have to do something about it. And one of the things we have to do is to bring it into the limelight. it's kind of operated out of sight, out of mind for such a long time, and it does it well because every day so many ships come and go very successfully, bringing us all the stuff we need. But I think it's time to address some things in shipping which should have had a bit more scrutiny than they have up until now.
And I think your book will help with that. Thank you very much indeed, Rose George.
Thank you.